Hey there, so in this video we're going to go over the filter function. And the filter function is something that also comes up in web developer coding interviews. And so I thought it'd be good to just kind of talk about it. Just like map, just like for each, this is a pretty common and important thing to know. Basically, if you get any kind of data, you need to be able to at least iterate over it using a for each, and then also be able to map some of the data like we saw in the other video, and then also you may want to filter the data. So in this particular example, let's say we have a sci-fi website and we get back all these movies from some sort of movie database, and then we want to basically only show the sci-fi movies. We need a way to do that. So in JavaScript there is a function called filter, and basically if you look that up on MDN here, I have the website open, you'll see that this is also another built-in method that exists on the array prototype. So you can use this just like all the other methods that we've been talking about, and they have some examples that you can look at and try to work with. So the thing about filter is that in the way it differs from for each and map is that filter accepts a callback function that is like a truth test, right? So in order for you to basically get back a filtered array, which is what it produces, the function that is passed has to basically either accept, it has to return true or it has to return false, right? So if it returns true, it's like a truth test, then we're going to push whatever the word was in this case into our new array that we output. So in this particular case, the truth test is the word length greater than 6? And so you have spray, limit, elite, exuberant, destruction, present. And so you can think of, look at this, it's like 5 letters, right? So this wouldn't pass the truth test, and so this would not come back into our new array. Same thing, 6 is also not greater than 6, it's the same length. So essentially we're not interested in this as well. Same thing with elite. So the only thing you get back is exuberant, destruction, and parent or present. And so that's kind of how the filter function works. It's all about a truthy test. So going back to our own data set, let's say you're working with movies and you're helping somebody build a movie website, then basically they ask you, okay, I need you to filter everything to basically get me only back the sci-fi movies. So we would want to have some kind of new array that we're going to store our filtered results, and so we can call this filtered results, actually, if that makes more sense. And basically we need to call the filter method that we just saw from MDN, this built-in method that exists on all arrays, and we need to pass it some sort of callback function. So the callback function is going to be our truth test, right? The truth test, and basically we're going to say, okay, take the item, and then if the item dot genre is equal to sci-fi, then we want to return back all those filtered results, and we can take a look at it over here in our console log. So I'm going to do that real quick. So save that and then type node index.js, and remember node is just from node.js. I installed it, so because I did that, I'm able to take any file name that I put in my computer and add that to this node command, and it'll console log whatever I've said console log. So you can see here I've got sci-fi movies back from this longer list of movies. So that's pretty cool. Also, sometimes people might ask you, well, that's great that you know that, how to filter, but how would you create this function yourself if you didn't have array.filter, right? So the next part of this question would be writing the own filter function, right? So we would want to make we want to do two things here, actually. We want to make a filtered function, and then we want to make some sort of truth test, right? So just for convenience this time, actually, I'm also going to add in the for each method. So I'll just write that in real quick because I don't want to type a for loop. So I'll just say for each, and I'm pretending that I'd never had the each method for the array built in. So I'm just going to have I'm going to have to write it myself from scratch. So I have array, and then I have a callback, and then basically here I'm saying, okay, I want to have a for loop, right? And basically I want to iterate over all of the items in my array, and then I want to call my function back on these items in the array. So I want to say, okay, the current array item. So that's my convenience method for each. And then I want to create my filtered function. So I'm going to say filter, and then it's also going to take an array, and then we're going to have a truth test, right? So just so I'm not saying function over and over again in my function definitions. And actually this needs to be equal to a function with 2 parameters followed by a fat arrow, and then here I've got my function body. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for each, right? This is what we defined above. Now we're actually calling it as opposed to defining it. So for each array, and then we want to say, okay, I want to take the current item in the array, and then I want to say if truth test, right, on the item, then let's do something with it. And what do we want to do? We want to basically add it to some kind of new array that we're going to output. It's a new filtered array. And I'm just going to make this equal to an empty array to begin with. But yeah, so here's the meat and potatoes of this particular problem. So if the truth test passes, right, if the item genre is equal to sci-fi, then it's going to return true, right? So if the result of this particular function is true, then we want to push into our new filtered array the current item. And I know this looks a little convoluted, but trust me, you're going to thank me later when you have to write these things from scratch yourself. You're going to be like, oh, okay, I get it. I mean, like, this is the function definition, and then this makes it easier, so I don't have to keep writing for loops all the time. I can just use for eaches. And then here I've got the array that I'm going to return. Okay, it makes a lot of sense to me. So that's your filter function. So now let's actually call it. And because we've used array so many times, I'm actually going to change this. So it says movies. And we'll just comment out the old code so that way we're not interfering with the new code. So we'll just go down here. We only have the for each and we only have the filter. So now let's filter our movies and let's pass a function. And the function is going to be our truth test, and it's just going to be return item. Actually, it should be, so we need the movie, right? So then we're going to say movie dot genre is equal to sci-fi. If we save that, we also need to put the result somewhere. So we'll create a simple variable called result, and then we'll console log the result, and I shorten result to res. Save that, and then type node index.js, and it looks like we've got a little bit of an error, missing initializer in const declaration. That's exactly because I forgot to put an equal sign here. So let's type node index.js, press enter, and there we go. We have our sci-fi movies. Very cool. Let's change this a little bit and make this into horror, and save that and see what we get back. And there you go, you still get back filtered. So now you know in this particular video how to create your own filter function, as well as how to use the built-in function for filter and why you would use it. Alright, I hope this made sense. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.